There's a specific kind of discomfort that loners trigger in people, and it's not what you think. It's not about concern or care. It's something far more primal, far more threatening to the social order everyone depends on. Watch what happens when someone consistently chooses solitude. Not because they're going through something, not because they're recovering from heartbreak or dealing with family issues, just because they prefer it. The reactions start subtle. Casual questions. Everything okay? You've been quiet lately. But there's an edge underneath, a probing quality that isn't really about your well-being. When you confirm you're fine, actually happy, genuinely content, that's when the discomfort crystallizes, because you just removed every comfortable explanation they had for your behavior. They can't frame you as someone going through a hard time who needs support. They can't position themselves as helpful friends waiting for you to heal. You just became something else entirely. Someone who doesn't need what they need. Someone who's found peace in what they fear. Someone whose very existence questions everything they believe about human connection and happiness. And that makes you dangerous. Not to yourself, to them, to the entire framework they've built their lives around. Here's what nobody wants to admit. Your comfort in solitude isn't the problem. Their discomfort with it is. And that discomfort reveals everything about what they're actually afraid of. Because when you're genuinely content alone, you're not just making a lifestyle choice, you're challenging a fundamental social assumption. The assumption that humans need constant connection to be healthy. The assumption that choosing solitude over socializing is inherently concerning. The assumption that being alone equals being lonely. Your peaceful existence contradicts all of it. And when people encounter someone who contradicts their core beliefs about how life should be lived, they don't usually respond with curiosity or openness. They respond with discomfort, with judgment, with attempts to fix what they perceive as broken. Because accepting that you're genuinely happy would require them to question everything they've been told about human needs. And that's too threatening. Think about what happens when someone at work consistently eats lunch alone. Not hiding, not isolating in shame, just peacefully choosing solitude. The reactions are immediate. Coworkers start expressing concern. You should join us. Don't sit by yourself. The language frames it as invitation, but listen to the undertone. It's correction. It's enforcement. Because your visible contentment in aloneness makes them uncomfortable, and they need you to stop. Not for your sake, for theirs. Your solo lunch becomes a topic of conversation. People theorize about what's wrong. They create narratives. You're shy, you're struggling, you're antisocial, you're going through something. Any explanation except the simple truth: you prefer eating alone, because that truth is too unsettling. It suggests that all their obligatory social lunches, all the forced small talk and exhausting performance of workplace camaraderie might not actually be necessary for well-being, and they can't let that possibility exist unchallenged. Or watch what happens at parties when someone leaves early without elaborate explanation or apology. Just a simple, "I'm heading out, thanks for having me." The host immediately starts questioning. Did something happen? Was it something we did? Are you feeling okay? And here's the thing. They genuinely can't conceive that you simply had enough social interaction and wanted to return to your preferred state of solitude. In their framework, leaving early requires justification, a headache, work in the morning, an emergency, something external forcing your departure. Because choosing to leave, choosing solitude over their company, that reads as rejection, as judgment, as commentary on them. Your simple preference becomes an accusation they need to defend against. And when you don't provide the comfortable excuse they're waiting for, when you make it clear you're just choosing yourself, that discomfort they feel isn't about you at all. It's about what your choice reveals about the choices they're not making.
This is where it gets psychologically fascinating. Researchers call this social comparison anxiety, the discomfort people feel when confronted with someone who's found contentment in a way that contradicts their own life choices. But it's deeper than that. It's not just comparison, it's threat assessment. Because if you can be happy without the things they believe they need, constant connection, social validation, regular interaction, then what does that make all their effort, all the energy they pour into maintaining relationships that drain them, all the performances they give to stay socially acceptable? Your existence suggests it might be optional, that the exhaustion they're experiencing might be self-imposed, that they have a choice they've been refusing to see. And people don't thank you for revealing their chains, they attack you for it. They make your freedom the problem so they don't have to examine their captivity. Your comfort becomes their discomfort, and instead of sitting with that discomfort and exploring what it means, they project it onto you as something wrong that needs fixing.
Here's what they do next. They start monitoring you. Not obviously, not in ways they'd ever admit, but they watch. They notice when you skip gatherings. They track your social media silence. They discuss your patterns with others. Have you noticed they're always alone? They never join us anymore. And this surveillance gets framed as care, as friendship, as people looking out for you. But that's not what it is. It's enforcement. It's the social collective making sure deviation doesn't go unpunished. Because your sustained contentment in solitude isn't just a personal choice, it's a threat to the social contract, the unspoken agreement that everyone will maintain connection, will show up to things they don't want to attend, will perform availability even when it drains them. You're breaking that contract, and contracts have enforcement mechanisms. The monitoring is one of them. The concerned conversations about you are another. The slow withdrawal of invitations disguised as respecting your space is a third. Each one designed to communicate your choice is noted, your deviation is concerning, your happiness is suspect. And here's where the discomfort reaches its peak, when your solitude produces visible thriving. When you're not just okay alone, but genuinely flourishing. When you're more creative, more productive, more at peace than you ever were maintaining exhausting social obligations. That's when their discomfort transforms into something sharper, into resentment, into active attempts to undermine your narrative. They start suggesting therapy, not because you show signs of depression, you don't, but because your contentment needs explanation, needs diagnosis, needs to be contained within a framework that makes sense to them. They frame your boundaries as walls, your peace as avoidance, your self-sufficiency as fear of intimacy. Any interpretation except the obvious one. You've found what works for you, and it doesn't include what works for them. This isn't projection, this isn't misunderstanding, this is deliberate reframing to protect their worldview. Because if you're genuinely thriving in solitude, if you're proof that human beings don't need constant connection to flourish, then their entire framework collapses. So they can't let you be proof. They have to make you pathology instead. Studies on solitary individuals who report high life satisfaction show something society doesn't want you to know. These people aren't avoiding connection out of fear or damage. They're choosing solitude from a place of strength and self-knowledge. They have higher autonomy, stronger sense of self, better emotional regulation, and more authentic relationships when they do choose connection. But that research gets buried under the louder narrative about humans being social creatures who need constant interaction. Why? Because the truth is too destabilizing. The truth is that for some people, extensive social connection isn't just unnecessary, it's actually detrimental to their well-being. That the introvert-extrovert binary is too simple, that some people genuinely function better with minimal social interaction, and that's not pathology or trauma response, it's legitimate human variation.
But admitting that would require society to stop pathologizing solitude, to stop treating loners as problems to solve, to accept that the social prescription being written for everyone, more connection, more community, more togetherness, might actually harm the people it claims to help. And they can't admit that. Too much is built on the assumption that social connection is universally good and necessary. Here's the truth they won't say out loud. Your comfort in solitude reveals their discomfort in constant connection. Every time you peacefully decline an invitation, you're holding up a mirror to their resentful acceptance of one. Every time you express contentment in your own company, you're exposing their dependence on others for happiness. Every time you set a boundary and maintain it without guilt, you're showing them the boundaries they're too afraid to set. Your freedom is a constant reminder of their compliance. Your peace reveals their exhaustion. Your authenticity exposes their performance. And they hate you for it. Not consciously. Most people aren't aware enough to recognize why your solitude bothers them so much. They genuinely believe their concern is about you, but it's not. It's about them. About what your choices say about theirs. About the possibility that they've been sacrificing their peace for social acceptance that doesn't even fulfill them. About the terrifying question your existence forces them to ask, what if I've been choosing wrong this whole time? Your solitude doesn't just make them uncomfortable, it threatens their entire identity. And people will destroy what threatens them before they'll examine why they feel threatened. Watch how this plays out in workplace culture. The employee who doesn't attend happy hours, who eats lunch alone, who doesn't participate in office gossip or social committees, that person gets labeled as not a team player. Their performance can be excellent, their work can be flawless, but their refusal to perform social availability gets coded as a professional liability. Why? Because modern workplace culture has convinced itself that constant collaboration and social cohesion are necessary for productivity. But look at the actual data. Many of the highest performers are people who minimize social interaction and maximize focused solo work. The open office plan that forces constant connection, it decreases productivity. The team-building exercises and mandatory social events, they increase stress and burnout. But companies keep pushing them because the mythology of connection is more powerful than the evidence of individual performance. And the employees who opt out, who choose focused solitude over forced camaraderie, they get punished for it. Not officially, but through the subtle mechanisms of culture fit assessments and networking advantages and the invisible ways that likability affects advancement. Your competence doesn't matter as much as your willingness to perform social availability, and that's by design, because people who are comfortable in solitude are harder to control. They don't need approval, they don't fear exclusion, they can't be manipulated through social pressure. And that makes them dangerous to systems built on compliance through belonging. This is where the dark truth emerges. Society doesn't actually want you to be happy. It wants you to be dependent. It wants you to need the things it provides: connection, community, belonging, acceptance. Because dependency is control. If you need social approval to feel okay about yourself, you'll comply with social expectations to get it. If you need constant connection to stave off loneliness, you'll maintain relationships even when they drain you. If you need belonging to feel whole, you'll perform whatever version of yourself the group requires. But if you're genuinely content in solitude, if you've found peace in your own company, if you don't need their approval or their connection or their acceptance to be happy, then you're ungovernable. You can't be controlled through the usual mechanisms of social pressure. You can't be shamed into compliance. You can't be threatened with exclusion, because exclusion is what you're choosing anyway. And that terrifies the social order. Because if everyone realized they could opt out, if everyone discovered that happiness doesn't require the exhausting performance of constant social availability, the entire system of social control collapses. So they can't let you be happy in solitude. They have to frame it as concerning. They have to pathologize your peace. They have to make your freedom look like dysfunction. Because the alternative, admitting that you found genuine contentment in a way that requires nothing from them, is too threatening to allow. So if you're someone who makes people uncomfortable just by being peacefully alone, if you're the person who triggers concern simply by choosing yourself over constant connection, if your contentment produces anxiety in others, know this: their discomfort will continue. They'll keep trying to make you wrong. They'll keep framing your solitude as something that needs intervention. They'll keep suggesting you're missing out, avoiding life, running from connection. The monitoring, the concern trolling, the pathologizing, none of it stops. Because you existing happily outside their framework is an ongoing threat they can't tolerate. Every day you wake up content in your solitude is another day you prove their narrative wrong. Another day you demonstrate that the exhausting social performance they maintain isn't actually necessary for well-being. Another day you threaten the foundation of everything they've built their identity on. So yes, the discomfort continues. Their discomfort, not yours. Let them stay uncomfortable. Let them keep questioning why you don't need what they need. Let them continue being threatened by your peace. I know it hurts when people treat your happiness as pathology, when your boundaries get interpreted as dysfunction, when your genuine contentment becomes evidence of something wrong rather than something right. That pain is real and legitimate. But understand this: you're not making them uncomfortable because something's wrong with you. You're making them uncomfortable because something's right with you. Because you've discovered what they're terrified to discover, that you don't need their approval or their presence or their validation to be whole. That's not isolation, that's liberation. And liberation always threatens captivity. Stay uncomfortable to them. Stay threatening to their framework. Stay peacefully, defiantly, unapologetically content in your solitude. Because your existence as a happy loner isn't just a personal choice, it's proof that their social prescription isn't universal. It's evidence that freedom exists outside constant connection. And that evidence, that proof, that truth you embody simply by being genuinely at peace with yourself, that's the most dangerous thing you possess. Let them stay uncomfortable. You stay free.